Hey guys, welcome back. Week 3 of virtual algebra, and today we're going to look at solving with square roots. So there's essentially 3 steps to this process. One is you get the squared part by itself. By itself. Okay, so a lot of times that's like an x squared, or it could be like x plus 5 squared. So whichever part has the exponent on it, you need to get that by itself. Then you do the square root of each side. And then you solve each little equation. Okay, so once you get the hang of this, it's not too tough, but it takes a little bit of practice. Okay, so we'll do a couple examples here. Alright, first one is just x squared equals 16. Step 1 is get the squared part by itself. Well, it's already by itself on this one. So we're just going to do the square root of each side. And the square root of 16 is 4, because 4 times 4 is 16. But one thing we got to remember is there's always 2 square roots, almost always, because negative 4 is also a square root of 16, because negative 4 times negative 4 is 16. So that's our answer. Okay, your answers are, you're usually going to have 2 answers. Okay. If we wanted to check this, all we do is put each one of these into our original equation. So 4 squared equals 16. Well, that's true. And negative 4 squared equals 16 is also true. So that one's super easy to check. Okay. This one's a little different. First we got to get the squared part by itself. So I need to get rid of that minus 9 somehow. So I'm going to do plus 9 and plus 9. Oops. Equals 9. Okay, now we got the x squared by itself, so I'm going to do the square root of each side. The square root of 9 is 3, because 3 times 3 is 9, and negative 3. Okay, simple enough. Last one here, we want to get x squared by itself. This is 4 times x squared, so we need to divide both sides by 4. So I'm going to get x squared equals 64 divided by 4 is 16. And then once we get the x squared by itself, do the square root of each side. The square root of 16 is 4, because 4 times 4 is 16, and negative 4. So those are our 2 answers for that one. Okay, a lot of the square roots, if you don't know them, you can use a calculator, but a lot of the smaller ones you should probably know or memorize. Okay, up to, I would say, at least 10 probably. Okay, let's look at a couple slightly harder ones here. Alright, these ones are almost the same. The only difference is now instead of just x squared, we have x minus 2 squared. But the steps are still going to be the same. Get the squared part by itself. Well, on this one, the squared part is already by itself. So do the square root of each side. The square root of x minus 2 squared is just x minus 2. The square root of 36 is 6. And then the other square root of 36 is negative 6. It's super important that you actually write out both equations and solve them, because now it's not just going to be like plus and minus 4. Now it's going to be different. Okay? So we did the square root of each side. We got 2 equations. Now we're going to solve each equation. If I want to get rid of minus 2, I'm going to do plus 2. 6 plus 2 is 8. So there's one of my answers. And over here, same thing, plus 2, plus 2. Negative 6 plus 2 is negative 4. So you can see these aren't just opposites now. Okay, so if you have something in the parentheses squared, it's really important to actually solve both equations. And I think we should also check just to make sure. So I'm going to put 8 into the original equation and see if it's true. See, 8 minus 2 is 6. 6 squared equals 36, that's true. And then same thing here, we'll put negative 4 in there. See, negative 4 minus 2 is negative 6. Negative 6 squared is 36. Negative 6 times negative 6 is 36. That's true. Okay, so we got the squared part by itself, did the square root of both sides. We got two square roots, one plus and one minus, and then we solved each one of the equations to get the two answers, and then we checked them. Okay, let's try this one. This one's a little bit more complicated. Still not too tough. Okay, first step is to get the squared part by itself. Well, we need to get rid of that minus 15 somehow. So I'm going to do plus 15 on each side. See, 10 plus 15 is 25. Okay, now we need to do the square root of each side. So I got x plus 3. The square root of 25 is 5. And the other square root of 25 is negative 5. Now we're going to solve each one of these little equations. So I'm going to do minus 3. See, 5 minus 3 is 1, 2, 3 is 2. So there's one of our answers. Minus 3, minus 3. Negative 5 minus 3 is negative 8. I'm going to check just to make sure. So if I put 2 into the original equation, see, 2 plus 3 is 5. 5 squared is 25. Does 25 minus 15 equal 10? Yes. And then let's do negative 8. See, negative 8 plus 3 is negative 5. Negative 5 squared is positive 25. Does 25 minus 15 equal 10? Yes, it does. You need to be careful if you're using a calculator especially. Put the negative 5 and the 5 in parentheses, because otherwise your calculator will square it first and then add the negative at the front and you get the answer wrong. Okay, so anytime you're going to square something, put it in parentheses first. Last one. Okay, step 1, get the squared part by itself first. Well, this is 2 times that whole squared part, so I'm going to divide by 2. See, 32 divided by 2 is 16. Now we got the squared part by itself, so I'm going to do the square root of each side. Square root of 16 is 4. The other square root of 16 is negative 4. And then I have to solve each one, so I'm going to do plus 1. I get x equals 5. And x equals negative 3. Okay? That's all there is to it. It's not that tough. You guys have some practice problems to do on the Google Classroom. Get those done, and just like last week, I will have a Google form comprehension check for you to do when you're done. Encourage your classmates to do it too, because there's still a lot of you that are not participating, and you really want to participate because you don't want to have to redo math next year. Okay? Hopefully see you guys soon. Bye-bye.